the very best space travel method that there is.
The absolute non-plus-ultra ultimate of all space travel methods is called plain and simple spiritual teleportation, a kind of transmission, the likes of which one cannot imagine. In the contrary to most of the transmissions, which operate with more or less sophisticated technical means of assistance, a spiritual teleportation requires nothing of this sort. With this phenomenal method, all travels can be achieved through space and time without use of any material equipment. One is neither dependent on transmitter stations, transmitter gates, or gates/locks, nor on other such perfect transporter systems, and thus also spaceships are no longer required. This spiritual teleportation is a hyperfast transport of people and objects through dematerialization and rematerialization, which entirely specifically is triggered with the help of spiritual consciousness powers and is implemented without the influencing application of technical means of assistance. After the dematerialization of a human body or a material object, the location transfer occurs in the form of an immaterial energy package, such as with a leap into hyperspace. An extremely highly dimensioned hyperspace is designated as a transit route, more probably para or psi-space, thus one of the 7 main spaces in the space-time configuration of the universe. This teleportation, which comes about with the application of spiritual consciousness energies, fulfills itself in the true sense of an instant in a time span of 0.nothing, and with the greatest possible speed that there actually is in our universe, namely with the creation of spirit speed, which corresponds to the sheer inconceivable numerical value of 10^7,000 times the speed of light, 107,000. With such a grandiose travel variant lets itself span immeasurably far distances in the entire universe, so to speak, with a single step very modestly expressed in words, whereby the full potential range of application actually extends even still beyond the universe barrier, so that last but not least even a transfer into the neighboring DEL universe can occur. An especially remarkable fact exists additionally therein, that the totally automatic recomposition of a human body or an object takes place. More concretely expressed, with the rematerialization of an arbitrary body, one in no way must know the subatomic structure. Thus one does not need to know at all how the individual organs of a body are arranged and how complicated the body is to construct from the myriads of cells, molecules and atoms. If now an individual has the spirit powers required in order to initiate teleportation, then it is essential to precisely know entirely how the process to be executed is set into action and where to the journey is supposed to lead, while everything remaining truthfully functions automatically as if by magic. If a human being thus teleports him or herself from one planet to another one, then it requires absolutely no knowledge about his or her physique and how the divided constituent parts must again join together into a whole, because by virtue of a law-based well-founded automation everything works out like clockwork without the slightest intervention or help of the concerned one. One could perhaps consult the operation of a television set as a greatly simplified comparison image in order to at least approximately suggest automatic functioning. There indeed exists a more justified reason to acceptance, that most people who cherish the pleasure of the television have little or really no inspiration of the subconsciousness of it. How such a device brings everything together so perfectly, therewith an acceptable reception is made possible. Nevertheless, it is not necessary to know about it, because it fully suffices to push the right buttons according to operating instructions. Remaining work is entirely alone managed by the technology. Provided that thus the operating instructions and its operation are true, the apparatus handles everything remaining. For the fully automatic function mode I would like to still offer a comparison, although also this lags behind in considerable amount. Let's suppose, for a complicated machine hundreds of thousands of constituent parts are required. All this is ready in an enormous storage hall. All instructions for the build of a machine are pre-programmed into a palm-sized template. The plant manager hardly has the expertise of the complete sequence of events, of the happenings. He or she must merely push the program disk in the associated slot and already the complicated assembly begins, with the assistance of robots of all kinds. For the control of this spirit teleportation, even the highly evolved Pleiadians/Pleiadians lack the necessary know-how, because they also have not yet found the jewel of the wise ones. In fact, they know extraterrestrial intelligences, who make use of this incredible technology in perfection. They are called the Sonar and live in the neighboring Dual universe. When an individual vision already possesses the capability to teleport him/herself or an even larger object and is in a direction across the remotest distances, then they must have already achieved a very high evolution level in order to fulfill such an excellence, because their two excellent spirit powers are required. Because however the highest amount of spirit power which can be achieved by an individual person for such a feat, act of power, is as a rule by far not sufficient, several people include themselves together and with their spirit forms form a so-called spiritual wedlock, in order to in mutual effort strive to achieve a culmination point, which in this case then also actually succeeds.